Oh man, can't get Joan in the shot here. Hey, she's all the way. There we go. Now we got it. Now we got it. Now we're going live, where we do it live. All right, we are live. Let's see. All right, so sounds good, and we're off and running, Joan. We're off and running. Welcome to the live stream, where we do it live. And as always, a little pregame before we hit the 7 o'clock hour. So, pregame, I go over what I did this week. I missed my eye doctor appointment. Not that I really needed it, it was just checkup. And exciting my life is. And I went to Chimney Rustic Ales in Hamilton, New Jersey for an event. That was pretty good. I got free seltzer, which was 6% alcohol, and I didn't know that when I accepted the seltzer. I'm like, oh, thanks. Figuring it was just seltzer so I could talk, and then it turned out 6% alcohol, which I'm a bit of a teetotaler, so I was like, oh, hope I could drive after this. It was a big glass, but it was all good. And that's about it, really. Nothing much going on this week. Had sushi. That was nice. Yeah. Good times. Good times. Boring times. Right, little Joan? Oh, we had guest dog this week. That was probably the biggest thing. We had guest dog, and I had a date over here, and guest dog just went absolutely cuckoo bananas. So did Joan, but Joan is smaller, so you can kind of just move her out of her way. Guest dog is like 3 times the size of Joan, and kind of was all over my date. And, until I finally had to cordon off the dogs. It was so bad, but it went fine. Anyhow, let's get into it. This, of course, is the Pineys of Book 13, available at Amazon.com. Check out that if you haven't already. And let's get into what we're all here to talk about, Joan. At 7 o'clock is the box office. Are you okay? Are you gonna make noise during the show? Again, you know I don't like that, right? Okay, go to sleep. Or do you want to sit over here? You miss me? All right. Here you go, Joe. All right, how's that? Oh, that's much nicer. Oh, isn't that sweet? Okay. So this week is a crazy amount of box office. Like, the box office was not good this week, in my view. The reigning champ this weekend for Thanksgiving Day weekend, which is normally a very big weekend. I mean, I think if we look back, say 3 or 4 years ago, before the pandemic times, Joan, we would see much steeper numbers. In fact, can we do that? Let's see. I think we could do that with this site. Let's see. Let me see if I put in November 26, 2000 and let's say 18. See if that comes up. No, it's looking for a movie called that. All right, what came out in 2018? I'm just going to do... I don't know. The Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, okay. Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe we can find a link to that. All right. Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy was... okay, here we go. Oh, this is Blu-ray. No, we don't want this. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. No, we don't want that. Regular Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, that came out in 2014. That's a little earlier, but let's see financial details. All-time domestic box office. Oh gosh. See if we can find a year here. Here's 2019. 2019. Well, let's just go with this. Actually, that's a little too soon. Let's go to 2000, yeah, 2018. That was the year of Black Panther. So Black Panther in 2018 did $700,000. This is just domestic numbers. Avengers: Infinity War, same year, did almost $700,000. The Incredibles 2 did 600 million. These are all million. Jurassic World, 417 million. The first Aquaman, 335 million. Deadpool 2, 324 million. Dr. Seuss The Grinch, 270 million. Mission Impossible Fallout, 220 million. Ant-Man and the Wasp, the first one that I really liked. Or no, that's the second one, right? Yeah, that one's okay. 216 million. And Bohemian Rhapsody did 216 million. So those were the top movies in 2018. Right? And you could see the first 14 crack 200 million. And the first 34 crack. Hey, Kite is here. Hey, Kite. How you doing? The first 34 crack 100 million. Good day, Tony, says Kite. Good day to you, my friend. So I can't find the direct comparison, but I think you'll agree that Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, isn't going to crack 200 million, I don't think. Domestically, anyway. Internationally, it will, but domestically, no. And I think this was a fairly expensive movie, but I got to say, for a second week, it didn't do too bad. I mean, it only dropped by 35%. That would normally be an indicator of legs for a movie, but I just don't think it has really any competition is the problem. Because you look at the next couple of movies, so Napoleon is not doing great, 20 million. This is its first week, really 32 million for the entire weekend. Wish, 19 million. This is for 5 days. If you're counting Thanksgiving, 31 million. That's not great. These movies have to cost more than 100 million, probably closer to 200 million. I mean, Wish is animated. Napoleon's a period piece. It's big money. It's got to be. Trolls Band Together is number 4, and that's in its second week. It made 17.5 million, almost as much as Wish, which premiered. Wish is definitely, I think, not money. I think all these movies are not money. Wish especially, because you're premiering at 19 and a half. That's got nowhere to go but down. So what do you get next week? Maybe you get 10 million. If you're lucky, you get 10 mil. Will this thing even crack 50 domestically? Maybe, just barely. So 10 next week, 5 the week after, put you at 46. Yeah, probably just crack 50 with the rest of the week. Napoleon, I mean, this movie's got to be 100, close to 200 mil. I mean, it's got to be somewhere in there. I split the difference, say 150. Is this even going to make that? It did 32 million. Only 46 overseas. It's 78.8. I mean, next week, sure, it'll crack 100 million. Might even break even, but that would just be for the budget. That doesn't sound very good. And it's not got a lot of good buzz. Even Variety sort of panned Joaquin Phoenix, which was weird. It was a weird panning. Like, they picked on him specifically. I don't know. I still like the trailer. But when you hear that kind of stuff, you just kind of go, I'll wait for streaming. Or, I'll wait for a rental or whatever. It's hard for me to get motivated to go to the theater. It's just hard. it's first off, it's a terrible experience. Let's be honest. I mean, at this point, the idea of buying food there just is never going to happen. I'm 100% committed when I go to the movies to smuggling in all the food, including the beverages, which isn't that hard, especially in the wintertime. Kite. I mean, period piece normally resonates with conservatives, but because of Joaquin and the typical Hollywood lately, they're put off. Yeah, yeah, I would say, but I also think like, historical stuff, you got to know history to kind of appreciate it. And I'm a big history buff, but in general, Hollywood has been so bad, and I don't trust them anymore. I used to trust Hollywood to at least get most of it correct. I understand they got to take certain liberties, they got to collapse certain characters and events together, but you need to at least hit the big moments, and I just don't trust them to do that anymore. So many times I've been disappointed. Now maybe that's just because I've read more history now, and maybe they've always done that, but I don't know. When they make changes that actually hurt the movie, like I still can't get past Revenant, because Revenant, although it's a good movie, the real story's better. It's just better. And I don't know why they wouldn't take that story and run with it, except that you've got the ego of the various people involved, and they just want to do these scenes, and they just wedge them in there. So if you've never seen Revenant, that's the one where Leonardo DiCaprio gets attacked by the bear, and the premise of the film is and needing to know history and potential racism stops leftists from going. Yeah, LOL. Yeah, I don't even think they trust them either, but for the opposite reason. They don't trust them to whitewash the history enough for them to make it seem like everybody they perceive. Well, again, it all goes back to leftism, right? It's like, if they're going to teach you in school nonsense that doesn't comport to reality, and then you go out in the real world and you realize that your world vision doesn't comport to reality, you have one of two choices: change your worldview or attempt to change reality. And that's why all these leftists are so miserable. Storebang, holy smokes, 775 likes on this video of already? What? How did that happen? That'll be a bug, Storebang. What? I have 775 likes on this video? Are you S-ing me? That would be awesome. No, I have 2 likes. What are you talking about? I have 2 likes. That's a bit of a different Storebang. Sorry, you distracted me. So yeah, you got these leftists who don't comport to reality, and so the actual reality they can't change, but they can get mad at movies for not making a movie to their reality. And a lot of these leftists exist in Hollywood, so sometimes they do. I mean, I'll give you an example. Doctor Who. The 60th anniversary of Doctor Who dropped this week, and let me tell you, the nerds are furious. And I don't blame them. I mean, it's bad. Storebang, I'll post a screenshot to your Twitter. Seriously? That would be fantastic if I got that many likes. Let me go over to my Twitter. All right. Oh, I got a message. Is that from Storebang? No. Or is it? Oh, yeah, here it is. All right. Yeah, according to this, it got 775 likes. How did that happen? That's crazy. Um, cool. I don't know how that happened. Kite, woke or who? Kite has been for a while, though. Yeah, but it's really bad. Like, they brought back David Tennant, who was one of the more popular doctors, pretty much just to dress him down and call him names, and force him to use pronouns. I mean, it's more blatant now. You know, before it was like, oh, we're gonna have a doctor as a woman, and it's gonna be neat and blah blah blah. Now it's like, you will use the pronouns, bigot. Like, that's in the show. It's not like implied anymore. It's in there. So, you know, Davies, one of the old producers, came back, or directors, I forget, and there was hope that he would revive the franchise, but that hope that is gone. Kite, it's a bug that's been happening for at least the past 2 weeks. It happened to a friend of mine. Huh. And it's always 775 likes? That's kind of interesting. Wonder why. I had a dream that there was a glitch on YouTube, and I became the world's most popular YouTube for a week because there was just some glitch, and for some reason everybody was shunted to my, and it was just random. They were all shunted to my channel, and I woke up and there were millions of comments and subscribers, and people were furious at me, and then, like, I was being interviewed by the YouTubers about what happened, and it was crazy. And then of course YouTube suspended me, so I couldn't get any of the money that I was supposed to get because they said I didn't deserve it. But then it was like, well, why did you? It's your fault. Kite, not always. It varies. Weird. YouTube's just so weird anyway. It's very evident to me they're gaming the system because weird stuff happens all the time. I get subscribers and they disappear. I get upvotes when I have no views. I get views and have no upvotes. Which, I mean, that's possible, but the opposite shouldn't be true. So there's something really weird going on at YouTube. I think the algorithm is trying to reward people. Like, the AI is going around dropping you little pieces of help if you happen to blunder into the message and say something that they view as positive, and then punishing you when you don't. That's my theory. But yeah, getting back to these leftist woketards. Oh, the algorithm, there it goes. Ding, 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 ding. They don't perceive reality. This is why people are so friggin' angry if you are foolish enough to try to talk politics with them. Because they're not, you know, I talk to my older relatives who, many of them are Democrats. This is a very blue state. They were Democrats back in the 70s when Democrats were still a little bit populist, and, you know, they were more for unions and working men and whatever. It was a different time. But they're still in that paradigm, and they've been brought along through the media, which they still watch. A lot of my older relatives still watch network TV, news. They read newspapers, and that's where they get their news. They do not get it from the internet, hardly at all. They don't trust the internet. It doesn't feel real to them, which, as a person that sort of bridged the gap between those two eras, I kind of understand that. Because back in the day, that was real news. Newspapers were real news. You watched stuff on TV and you got a gist of it, but then you followed it up, if you really wanted, with a newspaper read. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. And in those times, we only had the television and the newspapers and radio, maybe books. And you could only discern so much from your position using those tools. And there wasn't as much propaganda there. I mean, if you wanted to do this kind of stuff, the honest, quote unquote, people were still in the mix in those media. And they had nowhere else to go, so they would either fight it out or quit. A lot of them stayed and fought it out, and they would sometimes get their message across. Now those people all they all leave. There's no point to it anymore. The really talented ones, they go off on their own, do stuff on the internet. You look at Matt Taibbi and Glenn Greenwald and a few others. They do their own things. They do their own podcast. And, they get out, I would say, real news. And there's just no reason to tough it out in, like, NBC News. There's just no reason to do that. You could do it for a while and gain some money, but by the time you get up to the point at which you have a little bit of influence, you realize how corrupt the system is. And now it's more corrupt, I think, than ever. It was corrupt before, but the process was much slower. So because that process was much slower, it was much harder for interference to happen. Interference with media had to happen through phone calls and personal interaction. Now it just happens through an algorithm. Now it just happens through emails. It's much quicker. So you have these older people and some younger people, but mostly older people who don't even look beyond newspapers and television for their news. They just don't understand the internet all that much. They just don't see it they still see it as this novelty. So their worldview is shaped by television. I mentioned to some of my older relatives about the Irish riots. They hadn't heard word one about it, which didn't surprise me. It had already been going on for 2 days. I guess the national news didn't even mention it, but or it possible they mentioned it, but it just they kind of put it in the background a little bit. Oh, there's a riot in Ireland, blah blah blah. So when you're talking about reality for these people, they live in a different reality. These are the same people who are propping up Joe Biden that think the economy is somehow better, and really, it's corporations that are screwing us. Yeah, not Biden. No. The gas prices, none of that. Oh, no. See, the gas prices went down. Oh, Joe Biden's a genius, right? Right? I mean, you could see the idiots on Twitter. The midwits, you would call them, I think. So, to expect them to know what happened during Napoleon's time? Jesus. I mean, I don't know. There'd be a handful of them that probably read the book on Napoleon or a book about Napoleon. I don't know if this was based on a specific book. A lot of times historical movies are. But, for people just using their 8th grade history education in this country, good luck, man. Good luck. Even when I was in school, I mean, most people were pretty tuned out. They would pass tests, but they were pretty tuned out to any facts. They didn't really retain much. Maybe in college if you were a history major, but, so I think most movies like Napoleon, unless they hit that wave of popularity just at the right time, like if it wasn't up against anything, it's kind of not, but they tried to make Hunger Games and Napoleon the new Barbenheimer. I didn't see that working. They would have needed to really make Napoleon very based, I think, to make that work. Like, they should have made the Napoleon movie like they would have made it in the late 80s, early 90s. That there would be a big scene with boobies and maybe maybe a big orgy scene somewhere in that mix, and a bunch of crazy stuff. that modern movies just tend not to have because they're trying to appeal to women constantly. Um, Maybe they would have had a shot at it that way if people saw it was, oh, it's kind of edgy, kind of some boobies. But even that's not a big appeal anymore. You can see boobies on the internet all day long. So it's kind of like, it's not the same. You know, back again, back in the 70s and 80s, you know, if you wanted to see boobies, you know, you had to go, you didn't have the internet, so what would you do? Well, you could go buy a Playboy, or a magazine. You know, if you were a real sleazebag, I guess you could go to a porno, but otherwise you'd be like, ah, I think I'm going to go to an R-rated movie and see some boobs. Storebank. I'd rather watch a sequel to Napoleon Dynamite. Yeah, and another problem with movies today, so few people seem to see them now. They're just not ripe for parody anymore. It used to be a movie like this would hit, Napoleon would hit, and like almost everybody would see it because there was kind of nothing else to do. That's part of the problem too. Back in the 80s, a movie like Napoleon, most of the adults would have just seen it because they would have been going to the movies. It would have been like, let's go to the movies this weekend. Well, what could we see? Oh, the Hunger Games. It's a little bit of a teeny bopper movie. There's Wish. Nah, that's for the kids. Trolls Band Together. That's definitely for the kids. Thanksgiving. Nah, it's a horror movie. Oh, there's this Napoleon movie. That sounds like it'll be cool. And so all the adults would go see it. But now we have adults that either A, they're going to go watch old stuff for free or near free on the internet, in the comfort of their own homes, because comfort's a huge factor, I think, for people getting older. And, you know, going to the movies is a terrible freaking experience. If they made the experience of going to the movies more adult, a movie like Napoleon would have a chance. But it's not really an adult activity much anymore. It's barely a teenager activity. Even the teenagers are like, you know, for the teenagers, it would be about, again, seeing boobies, maybe getting candy and popcorn and getting yourself all sugared up, maybe for your date, doing a movie. But let's see, if I was on a date in the 80s, what movie would I take my date to? Probably be The Hunger Games, which wouldn't be a great date movie in my view, but that would be for someone who's in their teens. But teens don't go see movies. They watch movies on their damn phones. They don't watch TV. Half of them don't know the damn movie's out. So, I mean, you've got a bunch of them that read the book. They're mostly girls. Again, you have to make the movies. The 18 to 35 male demographic was the demographic for a reason. Because the 18 to 35-year-old males would decide the date. And women like that. Women like when you decide the date. We're going to the movies on Friday. Okay. We're going to go see Hunger Games. All right, that sounds good. It's because, and the women would go, not because they necessarily want to see the movie, although the guys would try to pick a movie that they could tolerate at least. They want to go to support the men, and they're about the relationship and the date. They're more concerned about, not the movie, more concerned about how the date went. Did he open the door for me? What did he say during the movie? Did he say something weird that puts me off? Or did he say something cool that I like? Does he remember that I like the books? I mean, all that kind of stuff. They're thinking about everything but the movie. The guys want to see a good movie. Why would they go see The Hunger Games? Probably because, my girlfriend doesn't like horror movies. I'm not sitting through the Marvels. Definitely not sitting through that. But at least The Hunger Games, maybe it'll be watchable. Apparently it is, because it's doing okay. Apparently it's more watchable than these other movies. It's also like I don't think it's that long. Let me see the IMDb. I think Napoleon's kind of a long movie. That's been a big problem recently. Let's see. Napoleon. You have the time on this. 2 hours and 38 minutes. Jesus. That's long. It's not a date movie. Oh my God. So's the Hunger Games. Jesus, that's too long to be going out of my mind if I was sitting there in 2.5 hours. Too long. Both these movies I rule as too long. Is anything short? Let's see. The Thanksgiving movie, I bet, is short. Thanksgiving, hour 46. That's a movie. So good on Eli Roth for at least making it the right length. So I guess I'd be going to see Thanksgiving, even though I'm really not up for it. But for a date movie, that would be my call. Definitely not seeing the Marvels, even though it's short, because it's just all women. And it just looks god awful. Maybe The Holdovers for a comedy. I think that one's probably short too. Let's see. Holdovers. And it looks good. I like the music. Well, 2 hours and 13, that's a little too long. That is a little too long. For comedy? What are you out of your minds? These movies are too damn long. Anyhow. Oh, man, it's in its 5th week, and it's in the top 7. That's not bad. Anyhow, getting back to the money. I don't think Napoleon's doing well. I don't think Wish is doing well. I think they're both kind of going to bomb. I think the Hunger Games will probably bomb, but not much. I think it'll probably be close. Trolls Band Together dropped from 2 to 4. 17.5 million. This is probably a bomb, too. 145 mil? Probably cost more than that to make this thing. But who knows? Thanksgiving, however, I bet is cheap to make. At 29 million worldwide, yeah, I think this movie was probably cheap. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 million to make. I don't think that's quite money yet, but, you know, it made 7 million in its second week. I think it'll go for another few weeks, probably make another 10 million. The Marvels, of course, DOA. 76 million. Shameful. 187 million worldwide. Ain't gonna do much better than that. From 4 to 6 in its third week. It's dropping like a rock. This could be out of the top 10 next week. If stuff keeps coming out. And I think a bunch of stuff's coming out next week too. The Holdovers is kind of going the other way. They've added it to more theaters. The Marvels, they dropped out of 960 theaters. That's not a good sign. In its third week, this movie has no legs. This is the quadriplegic of movies, The Marvels. It has no legs. None. The Holdovers was at 7 last week. It's at 7 this week. 12.8 mil. Probably didn't cost that much. I think the music cost the most out of this. It is a period piece, but it all takes place on a college campus. I don't think this movie cost a lot of money. So, 2.7 mil? Probably be in the theaters in at least another 2 weeks. 3 or 4, maybe? It is sort of a Christmas movie. It looked okay. So, that's not bad. I mean, the first week, they only put it in 2 theaters, so it's really in its 4th week, but it says it's 5th week. The Taylor Swift movie, this movie's already money. Obviously, 248 worldwide. Yeah, that's money, baby. This movie costs nothing to make. That's the beauty of it. The guys who made that movie are counting it. They're stacking it high. Drops from 6 to 8. This will drop off this has got to drop out of the top 10 next week. It's done. But 2.3 million. That's not bad. They'll probably do $1 million next week. Five Nights at Freddy's. still hanging in there in its fifth week. 1.7 mil. Did pretty well. Again, this movie didn't cost a lot of money to make. 295 worldwide. Yeah, that's money. No way this thing cost over 50. Probably cost 20, maybe 30. That's money, baby. That's money in the bank right there. This is what the Marvels at least should have done. This is what the Hunger Games, all these movies should have done at least Five Nights at Freddy's numbers. So they are effed. I better to make a horror movie at 30 mil and make a couple of hundred mil than to make something for a couple of hundred mil and make 30 million the first week. That's a disaster. Saltburn goes from 14 to 10, but they jammed it in more theaters. This is another indie film or art house film from Amazon, 1.7 mil. So last week it was in, I don't know, a handful of theaters. Now it's in a bunch for its second week. This is how they try to get it look like. They're trying to make it look like the movie's moving up and doing well. It only has a limited appeal, I think. The lead is the guy from the Banshees of Inisherin. He was one of the main actors. He got nominated for an Oscar, I think. He was really good. He's a really good actor. Can't think of his name. But Saltburn is one of these stories about a not rich guy going home with his friend who's mega rich and experiencing that world and then kind of crashing and burning in it. I don't know the full story. That's the sense I got from the trailer. It looks fine. They make those movies every once in a while. Number 11, Next Goal Wins. This is the Bad News Bears, basically, movie about, although it's about soccer, starring Fassbender, and directed by, I think it's directed by Taika Waititi, or he produced it, I forget. It looks okay. In the old days, this would have done better. It's 5.7 mil. I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like money to me, but there's no effects in it or anything, so if they really made it on the cheap, maybe, but I doubt it. I mean, you can't make a movie these days in Hollywood less than 20 million. Maybe they made it overseas for that amount, if they made it in like Australia or something. But Michael Fassbender, they would have had to give, I would think he'd command at least $1 million of that, right? You'd think. At least like $500,000. So that doesn't sound like money to me. But Taika Waititi. I'm sick of him. I'm done with him. Dropping to 12 from 9. Priscilla. This is Sofia Coppola. I can't stand that she directs movies. 1.3 million. 19.6 overall. I mean, I don't know. She is, in my view, still not a good director. But I think she's in the loop in Hollywood because she's a Coppola, and that holds some cachet in LA. And, I think if you stacked up her box office for all her movies, you'd be like, what? No. But maybe I don't know, maybe they made this movie on the cheap. If they did, that would be smart. How many more Elvis movies you gotta make? This is what I complained about Baz Luhrmann's Elvis movie. I'm like, you gonna make another Elvis movie? Everybody went, oh no, this is gonna be great. Baz Luhrmann. Kind of came and went, didn't it? It wasn't that good. And, Tom Hanks in a fat suit or a CGI, whatever they did to him. No, thank you. And again, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I grew up so much friggin' Elvis. Elvis this, Elvis that. The only Elvis movie I really like is Bubba Hotep. It's awesome. But another movie about Elvis and his life, it's just not that interesting. Probably because I've heard it so many freaking times. I don't know why it would be interesting to people who didn't grow up with that. I don't know why a kid from, say, the 2000s would be like, oh, I'm going to go see a movie about Priscilla Presley. Like, why would you care? Who is she to you? The woman who married Elvis. Elvis? Who's that? That's probably what a kid from the 2000s would say, born in the 2000s. I mean, I have a younger relative. He didn't know how to change a light bulb. He looked it up on YouTube. You think he knew who Elvis was? I don't think he knows. He really did. He looked up. He couldn't get a hold of anybody, and he said, "I looked on YouTube." nobody had a video on how to change a light bulb. Although I'm sure there's one somewhere. Number 13, Killers of the Flower Moon. This movie, I kind of feel bad for Martin Scorsese. I still kind of like him a million. Although Leonardo DiCaprio I could do without. Robert De Niro I'm really sick of. 151 million worldwide. I don't think this could be money. And again, this movie's 3.5 hours long. Not sure what he was going for here. I hear it's boring. I can't imagine sitting through even the movies I like, I can't imagine them stretched out to 3.5 hours long being better. Again, the only movie I ever saw that was pretty long, was almost 3 hours, is Macbeth? No, it was Hamlet, done by Kenneth Branagh, and he directed it and starred in it, and I think he was in it, yeah. And it was Hamlet, like, set during the Russian Revolution. It was pretty good, and it moved very well. So, you got a movie that's 3.5 hours long. That thing better move. It better feel like lightning in a bottle while you're watching it. Right, Joan? I'm sorry to disturb you. After a while, it just gets too hot to have you on my lap, doggy. So, I think this movie was doomed. It's from Paramount. I don't know what those guys are doing. Can you imagine how many movies you could have made with the budget from Killers of the Flower Moon? With the amount of resources. I mean, just think about it. It's 3.5 hours long. That's 2 movies. 2 movies you could have shot. You literally could have shot 2 movies. Part 1 and part 2. I remember the days of Back to the Future. When they decided to do the sequels, they shot them both back to back, I believe. Smart move, right? You got the cast, you got all the everything. Probably saved them money. But yeah, it's a shame. I don't know what he's doing now. Martin Scorsese, all these guys really, they don't have, most of them don't have good screenwriters. I think The Holdovers had a good screenwriter, or at least a good book to base the thing on. These maybe Thanksgiving, maybe even the Hunger Games. I don't know. I mean, or maybe that's just the fan base being loyal to the. It is a successful book. Five Nights at Freddy's, maybe. Again, that might just be the fan base. So, but you can't tell me a movie like Next Goal Wins. Probably, first off, the whole concept is just derivative. It's literally the Bad News Bears with soccer. I mean, that's all it is to me. You got a coach who's coaching a soccer team and he's drunk and he doesn't want to do it. I mean, that's the Bad News Bears. So, I don't know why you would do the same damn movie again. Or if you're going to do it, then it better be, number 1, different, and 2, more awesome than the previous one. Number 13, Radical? This movie's still in theaters? Weird. This is a foreign movie. I'm not sure what it's about. Dream Scenario. This movie stars Nicolas Cage, and I'm surprised it didn't get more press. It's only done 2.4 million. That can't be money. I think that barely covers Nicolas Cage. It's called Dream Scenario. It's only in 124 theaters. maybe they'll put it out to more. But the premise of the movie is Nick Cage is like this college professor, like every man, and he keeps appearing in people's dreams, and he becomes nationally known, and then he just keeps appearing in people's dreams for weeks and weeks. Oh, I think this drop or go up? I think it went up. Journey to Bethlehem, another religious movie. I think this is another what's the name? Oh gosh. The not the regular distribution, the other one, the one that's in theaters. I forget what it's called now. I mean, these movies do okay, I guess. They're probably shot for nothing. But 5.7 million, I don't know, man. They'll play forever, though. You can always play them. I don't know if there's enough religious people left for that kind of movie. Fallen Leaves. I don't know what this movie is. Second week. No idea. It only did 115,000 domestically. Oof. 2.8 million worldwide. That doesn't seem good, but it does look like an art house movie. Oppenheimer still in theaters. $32,000. The Exorcist Believer, woke horror, $21,000, still in theaters for some reason. You're not going to make your money back with that one. Sorry. And this one, Menace Placers Les Tragos? Troigos? I have no idea. $8,500. Some French movie, I guess. It's in one theater. The Disappearance of Sherry Height from IFC is in 2 theaters. Another art house film. And Common Ground still in there. The box office for the week is 114 million, which I believe is higher than last week. No, it's a little lower. I thought we had an 80. Maybe it was the week before. Yeah, the week the Marvels came out was 87 million. And so I guess we just got essentially essentially we're just spending about 85 to 117 million a week on movies in the United States now. It just bounces back and forth between them, and it's just spread out mostly from the top movies. Now this is a little more spread out though, because The Hunger Games, I mean, 28.8 million. It's not a lot in the scheme of things. It's technically the top for the second week in a row, but it's not a lot for a big budget movie. Not a lot. What did it do last week? So last week it did 44. This week it did 28. So even if it only drops by a third next week, what does that put it at? Put it at about 16, maybe. Yeah, 16 would be like a third off. Divided by 3, yeah, be about 9 off. So it'd be like 18, 19 mil. But still, it's not enough for a movie like this, I think. It looks expensive to me. I don't know what the budget is, and I would bet money it won't tell us. Let's see. Full financials. Yeah, there's never any news. Never any real budgets. Let's see if we can find out, though. Movie budget. Hunger Games 2023. I'll just put. Let's see if there's anything. Arden's here. Hello, sorry I'm late. Did an unintentional 2-hour stream today. Oh God, I hope you weren't doing anything weird like picking your nose when that happened. Let's see if no, they won't have it. Wikipedia might have it, but I doubt it. No. Oh, wait. Budget, 100 million. Okay. So they're saying this only cost 100 million? See, I would have guessed more than that. But all right. So this movie's kind of breaking even then, if that's true. So at 100 million, you're probably looking at at least another 100 million to advertise it. So it broke even. That's still not good. That's still terrible. And that it's chances are it's even a lie. I wouldn't trust anything Hollywood bookkeepers would say. Ardent, I usually only do an hour. Well, good for you. Good for you. Good for you doing a 2-hour stream. Anyhow, we're just wrapping up the box office here, Ardent. It's not great. Not great. Not great. There's really nothing here to see. Maybe Thanksgiving, I would see. Kind of warming up to the idea. Napoleon, I kind of want to see. But man, it's 2.5 hours long. I don't want to see it in the theaters. It's too long to sit there. It's just too long. I got to go to the bathroom now. I can't imagine trying to sit in the theaters for 2.5 hours. I definitely wouldn't drink anything if I wanted to sit through it all. But then I'm kind of uncomfortable. Thanksgiving, 1:46. Yeah, I could sit there for that because it's not going to be really 1:46. I mean, really, again, this is part of the movie experience. Ardent did the regular 6 hours with the Sultans yesterday. Oh my God, 6 hours. Well, at least you got the Sultans around you to pick up the slack. So, like, you go to the movie theater, and you're supposed to see the movie at, I don't know, let's say 8. And you're going to sit there for a half hour seeing commercials and previews. You're not going to see it anywhere near 8 o'clock. And then you're going to get there a little early to get a decent seat. So now you're sitting through other commercials too. I mean, so really you've got a wind up of a good, I'm going to say 40 minutes before the movie even starts. And you feel like, and all my snacks are gone. If I have any, forget it. There's no way I'm going to sit there with my snacks all that time. I'm just going to eat them. And it happens every time I go. I bring food and then I just, and, which is fine because the food's a bit of a distraction during the movie. I don't want to be doing this. But then the movie finally starts, and let's say I go to a regular movie, which is 1:40, 1:30. Now I've been in the theater for 2 hours and 20 minutes. The moment those credits hits, I am out the door at that point. I am out the door, probably right to the bathroom and then to the car and home. Because I've just been there too long. I don't want to be in the theater that long. Unless, back in the day when I was studying screenwriting, I would go to the movies all day. Like, I would pay for a ticket, and then I'd go to one movie, and then I'd just hop into the next theater for the next movie, and I'd see, 2 or 3 movies, and then I'd come out at, 6, 7 o'clock, and I couldn't see because I'd been in the dark all day. But that was rare, and again, I couldn't do that now. There'd be no way. I'd start getting hungry and annoyed, and there's no way I could sit through that many movies. It's just too much. I'd rather do that at home, where I could zoom through the movie or pause it and get up to go to the bathroom. Speaking of which, sorry, I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm gonna take a little break. Talk amongst yourselves, and we'll be back with the trades in 1 minute. Keep entertaining people, Joan. So much better. So much better. What'd I miss, Joan? Were you entertaining? Sorry about that. Ugh. Anyhow, let's move on to the trades and see what's going on. Oh, come on, Variety. Too many friggin' ads. Disney's Wish fizzles. The animated feature ticket sales fell short of expectations over Thanksgiving Day holiday. So let's see if Wikipedia can tell me the budget. There we go. According to Wikipedia, 49 million? No, 175 to 200 million. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Yeah, they're absolutely effed. There's no way this thing's going to make its budget back. It started at 19.5 million for the weekend, 31 if you count. All right, let's be generous. Let's count the entire Thanksgiving Day weekend, 31 million. What's next week? Next week you'll be lucky to hit 15. That's 46, maybe 50 mil. Next week maybe hit 8. So you have 58, maybe 60 mil. Next week another 4, maybe. And then maybe another 2. So you're looking at about 70 mil this hits. They lost 100 million just on the budget, at least. That doesn't even count the advertising. Now, I don't think they did as much advertising, but I mean, that's all gone. That's all money they burned. So you're looking at a loss of another maybe 200 million on this thing. Nobody wants these movies. The brand is dead. Disney killed its brand. And good luck bringing people back. Oh, they're so pissed at you, Disney. They're so pissed. Everybody's pissed. Everybody feels ripped off, in my view. Even if you've got Disney Plus and you like the woke BS, they're raising the prices. They keep raising the prices. You're not really getting much more value, in my view. Oh, okay. If you're a Disney nut and you go see the movies anyway, what's the point of having the streaming service? Every once in a while, something exclusive shows up, I guess. But with the strike, puh. And then I think they were going to put Echo, a show they actually, according to one report, shot twice. And we're going to shoot it a third time because it was so bad, apparently, that now they're going to just release it. And it already looks too violent for what should be a Disney audience. The term Disney audience used to be a thing. If you said Disney audience, immediately people would think, oh, that's a kid's movie. It's going to be wholesome. It's going to be Americana. It's going to be nice. The whole family could see it. Now, what does it mean? It means nothing. It means maybe you're going to get a pride parade in the middle of the movie. You're going to definitely get the message. You're going to get a bunch of whacked out ideological nonsense that nobody asked for. That is going to substitute for story. And that's what some of this has in it. So they're done. I think they're done. Unless they're going to buy, I don't know, what could they buy at this point? They bought everything. They literally bought every major thing. They bought Star Wars. They bought Marvel Comics. I guess they could buy DC Comics. But that's already kind of run into the ground. What's left? What's left? I guess you could buy the Hanna-Barbera cartoons and do a live-action Yogi Bear. I don't know. Make that woke. Hey, boo boo boy, are you known as they or them? That was my Yogi Bear. That was pretty good. I think that was pretty good for not doing it for years. You guys even know who Yogi Bear is? Probably not. HR Pufnstuf, Land of Lost producer Marty Krofft dies at 86. Now, this guy, you guys definitely probably don't know, but he was a big part of my childhood in that I watched all his shows when I was growing up, when I was a kid. So, HR Pufnstuf was this weird show, took place in this whimsical world where, you know, in the modern day, they would do CGI or they would do it as a cartoon. Back then, it was guys in costume. And it was this weird plot about this guy trapped in a magical world, and he had a magic flute, and HR Puffin stuff was one of the characters, and it was this big crazy puppet. It was kind of like Sesame Street, except it wasn't Sesame Street. It was like a weekly show. And then Ardent. Yogi was smarter than the average bear. He absolutely was. And then The Land of the Lost was this whacked out show. It was about a group of characters that went down the wrong river on vacation, and they ended up in the Land of the Lost because they went down this cave. The river took them through this cave, and there was an earthquake, and the end result was they went over this waterfall on the other side that plunged them down into the Land of the Lost, and then behind them the cave collapsed, so they're trapped there, and it's like a lost world of dinosaurs. But it wasn't just dinosaurs, and this is where it gets really weird. It was also ape men and a race of sentient lizard people called Sleestaks, who also had like alien technology. So part of the show you would watch, and it was partly like the characters surviving in that lost world and them trying to figure out what the Sleestaks were all about, because they were kind of the bad guys. And during the course of the show, they would also encounter other people who had fallen into the Land of the Lost and gotten trapped there. So one time they encountered a guy who had a cannon, and he was from the Civil War. Another time there was an astronaut. He ended up there. He ends up escaping, I think. And then a couple others. But part of the problem with the show was, I think about a year or two into it, the lead guy quit the show or left the show. I don't know why, but the opening song, which you can find on YouTube, they had to change because his character's name was in the song. So then they swapped out him for another character who went searching for them and then found them, but the other character disappears I forget why he disappeared. I think he ends up using one of the magic crystals the Sleestaks had. I know you're thinking like, what the hell was this show? It's nuts. It's an absolutely nutty show, but it was cool when you were a kid watching it, because you were like, what the hell are all these crazy crystals? Did these actually exist in dinosaur times? Did these guys show up here and do things like this? You didn't know. So it was an interesting show. They had some creativity behind it. And Marty Krofft was the producer, so he did all these kids shows, and those were the two of the biggest ones. So I highly recommend The Land of the Lost for its camp value, I'll say. But now that he's dead, I'm sure they'll buy the rights and try to make a serious movie. It was definitely not a serious show. To make a serious show out of it would be weird. But I'm sure that's in the works. I 100% wouldn't be surprised if they announce a Land of the Lost movie where everything's super serious. How Snow White and Sleeping Beauty's storybook opening inspired Disney's Wish. Who cares? See, this goes to my theory that Variety, Hollywood Reporter, and other outlets like that simply say to the studios, oh, you want us to do articles about your movies? And they go, yeah, of course. All right, we'll do it for X amount of dollars. And the studios just pay them money, or not even money, but they pay them in favors to interview certain people to shill certain movies. But they try to do, it's so often that they do that, they try to do it in advance and get all these articles written, that they're already written. Like, I think they've expected Wish to do well, so they got like 4 or 5 articles that are going to come out in the next week, and it'll all be about Wish. Even as the movie's going out of theaters and nobody's watching it, you'll see in the trades more articles about Wish, is my theory. I don't know that to be a fact, but it seems to make sense with the articles that come out. See, look, here's the article criticizing Joaquin. Joaquin Phoenix one-man cult of depressive method acting vanity. That's brutal. That's a brutal assessment for an actor who who is often lauded in his roles. Are they trying to destroy him for some reason? Do they hate him now because of the Joker? I don't know. I mean, they seem to go after him during the Joker a little bit, but it's weird. And now, here's the next big hit, by the way. Inside Beyonce's Renaissance concert film, world premiere with Lizzo. Or did this thing drop? No, it wasn't on the list. So I think this is going to be big, the Beyonce movie. Maybe not as big as Taylor Swift, but pretty big. I think it's going to be competitive at the very least. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. So, yeah, that's going to be money. And I think, again, they may do a bunch of these concert movies if they keep making money. It's definitely going to make money because, again, they shoot concert films all the time. You just almost never see them. But now they have, I don't know, people seem to be interested. So I think there always kind of were, but since that, I think they're going to try to push it as the next trend. I think the Beyonce movie should do well for them. Univision anchor Jorge Ramos is latest to blast Trump interview. See, like Donald Trump goes and does an interview, just a regular interview, and they blast the outlets, Univision, for even having him on. Like, why? He's running for president. What do you care that he did an interview? Don't watch it. If anything, all you're doing is make it more likely for people to go back saying, yeah, Trump, what did he say? I better go look. I mean, why? These people they have TDS so severely. Just let it alone, you morons. Also this week, weird thing happened, right? So, Susan Sarandon got canceled because of her views on Hamas, I'll say. And she got dropped by UTA. Then one of the Scream stars, who's not very big in my view, Barrera, I think her last name is, she came out with a post. They didn't like that either. I think she's at UTA too, if I'm not mistaken. And they dropped her. She's being canceled. Oh, no, she got fired from Scream. Yeah, she's fired from Scream. And then also Jenna Ortega liked the tweet about Hamas or Palestine or whatever it was. And, but of course, they're not going to touch her, I don't think. I think she's okay with doing that. Like, she can get away with that because she's the new it girl. But Susan Sarandon, man, I don't know what she's thinking, but she's like 77. She doesn't care. She made her money. But it's interesting that I think she's gone too far. Like, Tim Robbins, also very political, has said stuff over the years, some of which I agree with, but he seemed more based in reason, I would say, whereas Susan Sarandon, not so much. Although a few times, maybe. I thought she was smarter than this, but the whole Hamas thing has torn Hollywood right in half. And it's amazing to see. You know, how do you defend Hamas? It's so insane that they're defending Hamas. Like, you could say, well, the Palestinians have it rough. Sure they do. They have it rough. There's no doubt. And I've criticized the IDF and the Israeli government a bunch of times, but it's one thing to criticize them. It's another thing to come down on them at a time when they were attacked. You can't get around the fact that the Hamas attack was incredibly bloody and vicious and vile. You just can't get around that. And when these guys defend Palestine now, it's like, no, this is a wrong time for that. And then they act like they're a bunch of anti-war nuts. No, they're not. I don't think any of these people defending Palestine give a crap about anti-war stuff. They have no problem with war whatsoever. Look at their views on the Ukraine. Most of them totally support... Sorry, I got eyelashes going. Most of them totally support the whole Ukraine mess. These were the same people screaming about Russia, although I don't think Susan Sarandon was. But yeah, again, celebrities, shut up, shut up. Why won't you shut up? Christopher Nolan says a healthy Hollywood needs franchises. It pays for the other types of films to be made. I don't know about that. I mean, franchises, other than Bond, there weren't a lot of them. Not with any kind of staying power. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that statement. What is needed is a quality control, not more money. They spend far too much money for the lack of quality control. When you spend $100 million on anything, it should be amazing. And not just amazing costumes, not just amazing music. The first thing that should be amazing is the script. And these guys can't throw money at the situation. They absolutely cannot. You must hire talent. You must. And you must nurture that talent. And you must pay them. But screenwriters don't get paid nearly as much. I mean, these people blow tens of millions of dollars on sets and locations and all these different things for the movies. Sometimes it doesn't matter. I'll tell you one story I heard. So they're getting ready to shoot Aliens 3. Okay? There's no script, or there's only a partial script, and they start building the sets because they're trying to get ahead of the game, because that's one way to save money, right? Well, the guys they got writing the script apparently wrote a script where the premise was, and you got to remember where Alien 3 was. Alien 1 is the original movie. You've probably all seen that one. Then Alien 2 is the one where Sigourney Weaver, it's like an action movie. She saves Newt, and also Kyle Reese from the Terminator movies is in it, and they fight, and Kyle Reese is on Sigourney Weaver's side, but he gets horribly injured, and she has to save him from the aliens, and like they barely survive the movie, and it's Sigourney Weaver, Kyle Reese, and Newt all survive at the end of 2, and it's a pretty good movie. Like the first 2 Aliens, like Aliens, awesome, and 2 is a good follow-up. So then they go to develop 3. Okay, so forget everything that happened after that. So 3, the initial pitch is they end up on a spaceship run by druids. Okay, no wait, it gets worse. So they decided that the druids would have a wooden spaceship. A wooden spaceship. Yeah, and so the morons apparently started to build the sets for it, until I guess someone said, you can't have a spaceship made of wood, you idiots. Also, it's a shame because apparently they wasted a lot of money, and they got into a fight, I think, with Sigourney Weaver over money. So the next draft, it was going to be the aliens infect a group of animals, part of a zoo or whatever the movie was, I forget. I think it turned out to be a prison colony at the end, but I forget. Anyhow, it was going to be a dog alien, a gorilla alien, and a cow alien, because the idea is the alien host, when the alien's born, it takes on the attributes of whatever creature it grows in. So it was going to be an alien bull, an alien gorilla, and an alien dog. And they actually made the toys. So the alien, you can actually buy the alien bull and the alien gorilla, I believe. Those were actually made. But the only one that made the cut in the movie was the alien dog. And it's a shame because there was a concept in there that could have been good. But that was also very typical of Hollywood at that time. They wouldn't spend a lot of money on franchise sequels because they knew they would make less money. So in order to continue to make the same amount of money, right? So say the first, I don't know what the first Aliens made. Let's say that made $500 million. I don't think it had made nearly that much for the $1979, but let's just say it's 500 million, and then the sequel only makes 250 million, well, then you're saying, oh, okay, the next movie's only going to make about 125, so they're just going to cut the budget. But there's a way you could re-script it in a way that would make sense. Ardent, a wooden spaceship? And here I thought Hollywood only got stupid as time passed. There's always been morons writing. Gives me hope. Yeah, it's like they're not even, it's not the writers 9 times out of 10. It's usually the producers, the directors, or just Hollywood executives pitching stuff, right? The reason they pitched probably a ship full of druids is they just wanted something different from the previous 2 movies. They looked at the previous 2 movies and they saw, okay, this one's like dystopian future, aliens, blah, blah, blah. A lot of mechanical stuff. Second one was definitely like more like Terminator. So they wanted to go in a different direction, right? So, I mean, I kind of understand that thought process, but I also understand enough to go, no, that wouldn't work, you morons. You can't have a wooden spaceship. And to their credit, they didn't do that. They didn't do that script. They did change it. But they had wasted, apparently, tons of money building it. So, and that's part of the other problem too. It's everything's so like disjointed in a way. When you're making a bunch of movies and you only have a certain amount of time, you do have to make compromises. You know, in the example I give of Land of the Lost, where they lost the actor, they had to come up with a story idea to explain why that actor wasn't in the show anymore. So, what else are you going to do? Well, we still want to do the show. Yeah, but we don't have that actor. Okay, we're going to put in another actor and explain why Uncle Jack came searching. And that's exactly how they changed the show. I'm telling you, go back in YouTube, find Land of the Lost, watch the first episode, and then watch a later episode where they have to change the theme. It's very funny. It's funny to me anyway. But this is the problem. It's not about the writing. It's about the money. So they knew Alien 3 would make money. They knew it would make money. And at some point they threw up their hands and go, okay, just make what, you know, we'll cut out the 2 of the animals and we'll be able to get this thing under budget and get it out there. And they did. But in my view, the movie's not very good. So, you know. And then they made more movies anyway. Here they're saying Ridley Scott's Napoleon reigns supreme at global box office with 78.8 million, which is probably accurate. Apparently this did very well in France, which is interesting. So maybe the French like it. I mean, that says something about it, since Napoleon was French. Although they don't have French accents in the movie, they don't speak French. So that's always weird to me. Okay, moving on to one of my favorite sites, Bounding into Comics, which hasn't updated in a while. I guess he's off for the holidays. Yeah. Talking about It's a Wonderful Knife. I looked at that... what's the name, trailer. It doesn't look awful. It looks kind of watchable, but I don't know. I hate slasher movies as a rule. More about Dave Filoni. Can we all just agree Star Wars is dead? Can we all just agree it's dead? Star Wars is dead. Star Trek is dead. Doctor Who is dead. The Marvels are basically dead. Or Marvel MCU is dead. DC still has a chance, but I don't have high hopes. I think that's pretty much dead. Although I think Superman and Batman can still be salvaged because they haven't quite ruined the movie versions of Superman and Batman yet. They're definitely tarnished, but they're not ruined. You know, James Bond, done, is so done until they get somebody very based. They could fix Bond if they set it aside. All these things they could fix if they set it aside for 20 years. I don't think they're doing that with anything. In fact, I think they're going to double and triple down. But Star Wars, I think in particular, is done. I don't know why anybody sees it. And I got to think the wine moms and trend following girls that are caught up in Star Wars and the MCU have to let it go soon. It seems like it's finally going out of vogue, even with them. But I'm not sure what they're going to transition to. I'm really not. I mean, I got to think the Marvels. Some of them were furious on Twitter about not going. People didn't go see the Marvels. No one's supporting this movie. Yeah, well, nobody wanted to see it. Once you've lost the comic book fans, you've lost them. And you've really lost a lot of comic book fans. Again, the alpha fan theory I always talk about. The comic book fans, they tend to be alpha fans. You know, your geeky friend who buys comics and follows comics, you go to him for advice on a movie like this. Oh, is the Marvels going to be any good? And when he goes, oh, God, no, don't go see that. It's a piece of crap. Oh, it's going to be a feminist screed, blah, 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 blah. Are you going to go see that movie? I don't think you will if you value his advice. What's wrong, Joan? You got stuff in your eye. Oh, poor doggy. There you go. That's better. Daisy Ridley says, upcoming race-centric Star Wars film has a story that's really worth telling and really worth exploring. Does anybody believe that? Does even the people who saw the Rey Star Wars believe that? I guess you could cannibalize that audience for a while. I mean, it's still an audience there. Oh, doggy's so sleepy. So sick of hearing me talk. So sick of it. You know, I guess you could cannibalize Daisy Ridley's audience, Star Wars audience, for a while. I mean, her film career doesn't seem to be going anywhere. She's in a few films. They just don't make enough films. Nobody's interested in films anymore. Which, in a way, it's good because hopefully we're close to a renaissance of film soon. We are going through the 70s again, it seems. So the next renaissance of film hopefully is going to be a bunch of gritty, realistic films like happened in the 70s. And, you know, they're going to be small films about real people doing real things. And, you know, we get back to the basics. We'll see. Prometheus star Noomi Rapace, love her, would rather play roles written for men than likable women. F likable. I love Noomi Rapace. She's awesome. She, again, I recommend the movie The Trip, which she is in. It's very good. And then this movie, Madam Web. I can't, I mean, to even greenlight this movie is insane to me. You greenlit a movie called Madam Web. Oh, what's it about? Well, it's about a bunch of other characters around Spider-Man. So is Spider-Man going to be in the movie? No! So, what do we have to look forward here? Oh, a bunch of characters with very similar powers. Okay. And why do we care about these? Oh, because they're kind of like Spider-Man, only they're women. I see. And you think Spider-Man appeals to women? Yes, I do. Which is what I imagine the conversation goes like. Women, again, I mean, they're not huge on this stuff. And Madam Web, I mean, really, you're scraping. There's no barrel left to scrape at this point when you're going to Madam Web. Madam Web, okay. All right, you own the IP. So I guess, here, I'm going to put you on the ground, John. You worry me. You worry me. Sitting there you go. Madam Web, I just don't say it. You know? And you race swap one of the characters. Okay, who are these characters? I don't even know them, and I followed Spider-Man for years. But sure, I have zero interest in the movie. I mean, zero. Not like, you know, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, like, came out, and I was just like, I hear it's not great, but maybe I'll see it. Like, I had some level of interest. This? Like the very idea of going is offensive to me. If I was dating, you know how hot the woman would have to be to get me to go see this damn movie? She'd have to be hotter than the girls in the movie. And I'd be like, sure. I'd probably go into my mode of like, I hate this, but I'll just pretend to tolerate it, and like I'm really toughing it out. So maybe she'll appreciate it. Oh, I know you didn't really like it, but thanks for going. Do one of those. I know I'm very manipulative, aren't I? Anyhow, good luck with that. I think that's going to be a total bomb for Sony. Ardent, yeah, Madam Web only interests me in that I want to know who evil Spidey is. Who cares? Who cares? There's a bunch of characters that were in like recent comics. The Hollywood guys have no concept how the comics work. None. It's like, it's just probably what my friend experienced and I experienced. You've got a bunch of assistants working for these producers, and they read the comics for them, and then they give them a summary. Oh, what's this thing about? Read some of the comics and tell me what the Spider-Man thing is about. All right, this is the most current stuff. Yeah, he's got this character and that character, Ezekiel, and there's this other guy with different powers. Oh, it sounds all pretty good. These are popular. Yeah, it was in there. It was in the Spider-Man comic, so I assume. You know, meanwhile, all it would take would be literally a 2-minute conversation with any fan on the floor of a comic book convention. They'd be like, Madam Web. And you'd know instantly this was a bad idea. Madam Web? You're doing Madam Web. Yeah, you know Madam Web, right? Yeah. She doesn't even have her own comic. Well, what else do you want to see? Spider-Man? Oh, no, well, we got to do a different Spider-Man movie. See, it's a different Spider-Man. Well, is he going to be in it? Well, no, because that'll cost us a lot of money. But we need to do other characters in the Spider-Man universe. Well, why don't you do a comic book, a movie about the Incredible Hulk? Well, we don't have the rights to the Hulk. Oh, I don't know. Do something about Flash Thompson. Who the hell is Flash Thompson? I mean, can you imagine a conversation? And Flash Thompson would not be a good movie either. But the bottom line is, Spider-Man is the main character in Spider-Man. There's virtually no characters that are worthy of a spinoff. Virtually none. And the characters that kind of were set up as a spinoff character are so obscure, nobody knows them. Like the Tarantula, maybe? I think there's one or two others that were like that. They were like one or two one-shots. They introduced them in Spider-Man. I mean, the Punisher technically is a spinoff of Spider-Man, I think. I think he first appears in Spider-Man, if I'm not mistaken. But if these characters were strong enough on their own, they would already have their own spinoffs. A smart comic book fan would tell these producers, don't do spinoffs based on anything current. You'd have to go back at least to, I would say, I wouldn't touch anything after 1990. Yeah, and you'd want to stay in the 70s as long as possible, because that's where all the quality was. But what are you going to do? Ardent. Yep, you're right about the Punisher. Yeah, I was almost sure. My friend's absolutely obsessed with the Punisher. He loves him. James Gunn surprisingly ditches Jimmy Olsen's race-swapping trend, casts Skylar Gisondo as red-haired reporter in Superman Legacy. Okay, I guess. But again, like, shut up, make the movie, put it out. How about that? How about just make the movie? James Gunn, I think, spends way too much time on social media. Just way too much. All right, getting over to the Hollywood Reporter. Again, so many pop-ups. Ozzy Osbourne says he hopes to perform one last show amid health struggles. I'll die a happy man. That's kind of sad. But he says he only's got about 10 years. I mean, I get it. He performed all his life, so sure. But I think he should probably do something that's easy on him, like not a full arena tour, like something like in casinos, that kind of thing. Let's see, what else? Not much else going on here. Keith Urban says, wife Nicole Kidman, they're married? Never expected her AMC ad to become this cultural thing. Which ad was that? I don't know. Nicole Kidman did that weird bit about eating the bugs, which was very disturbing to me. Ardent Ozzy, oh man, bummer. Yeah, he's not in great shape. I think he should just retire, but I could see that he wants to do one last hurrah, but oh, Bradley Cooper would do The Hangover Part 4 in an instant. I don't know why he would do it, though. I mean, I think The Hangover 4 has the least chance of being funny. Between the fact that Hollywood's just way too woke, number one. I mean, and the other two, the sequels, man, they were not good in my view. They were just awful. Just awful. Almost unwatchable. I almost turned off 3 partway through and but I suffered through it. SAG-AFTRA released more details of the contract terms. I'm not liking the buzz on those contract terms. It seems like the AIs got AIs are in the door now, and I think it's just a matter of time before the studios slowly start replacing the actors. I think they're going to abuse whatever loopholes are in there, and they're going to start making movies. As the technology gets better and better, you can forget about these actors. The actors we have right now, I think they're in trouble because they may eventually be forced to sell their likenesses in order to continue to work and continue to get money, and they may very well do it. I mean, Michael Douglas, I think, has already signed that deal. Like when he dies, oh my God, it is pouring outside. Like when he dies, his likeness and voice will be sold to the studio, so it will live on in movies, which, by the way, I touched upon in Hollywoke, another novel. So I could totally see that. I could totally see these guys. First, it'll be Michael Douglas, right? He'll sell his likeness. It's after he dies, right? So he gets a big chunk of money, he gets to retire comfortably, and that makes sense because he's going to be dead anyway. And then they won't use his likeness for a few years after, and then boom, Michael Douglas will showing up in movies. Then it's going to be a guy who says he's not as famous as Michael Douglas, but famous enough he could get a deal, so he decides to sell out a little earlier. And then there'll be another guy a little earlier, and a little earlier, and a little earlier, until finally, oh, you want to be an actor? Well, first you got to sell us your likeness and voice, and then maybe. And then if we use you, you'll get a check. If we don't use you, oh well. Or if we only use part of you, you get a partial payment or whatever. And then you're going to have guys showing up everywhere. Then the technology will be, eventually, I'll be able to build a movie in my computer, as you will. Everybody will. People will be making movies in their laptops all day long. They already kind of could do it. Paul Rudd on his very restrictive diet when preparing to play Ant-Man. Oh, is it a communist diet, Paul? Did you take a page out of the a character from the movie and go full communist and just starve yourself? Here is Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade draws its biggest TV audience ever, which is weird. Very weird to me. I find that very surprising. I guess people wanted to see the parade, but it got interrupted by protesters. Is that why people wanted to see the parade? Or, I don't know. Why did people want to see the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade all of a sudden? Or are they manipulating the data? I don't know. All right, moving on to Bleeding Fool. Oh, Hall & Oates are in a legal dispute. Now, what I read was Ardent. Reminds me of Simone with Pacino, completely artificial starlet. Yeah, I think that's what we're headed towards. Same thing with the music. Hall & Oates embroiled in discreet legal dispute with each other. It's not very discreet in my view, but the rumor is that Daryl Hall is trying to block John Oates from selling his share of the music to a company who I guess would give him a bunch of money so they could use the music. Because Daryl Hall, I think, is still on tour and still likes playing the music. And so, I don't know. Maybe John Hall just wants out or wants a big pile of money. Experts admit that the comic industry is in complete collapse. Yeah, go to a comic book show sometime and see what people are buying. It ain't the new stuff. It ain't the new stuff. No. It's all junk. I mean, it looks like a flea market again in these shows. And I don't mean junk like in a negative way. I mean junk like old. It's all old stuff. Everybody's looking for old stuff. No one's looking for new stuff. No one gives an F about the new stuff. There was a time when comic books were hot. People wanted the hot cover. There'd always be a guy. He'd have all the hot comics, right? And he'd have them for, high prices because they had gone off the shelves and people missed them or whatever. And he'd have 3 or 4 copies of things and he'd be selling stuff fairly steadily. I thought it was a waste of money, but they were hot comics at the time, whatever you want to spend your money on. Now, those guys are mostly gone. There's really nothing too hot. Maybe a couple of covers here and there, but not a lot. It's mostly the old stuff everybody has now. The classic characters. Occasionally something pops up from a movie or whatever. But, people are selling toys. Funkos are still selling for some reason. I don't know. I don't understand people who buy Funkos. I really don't. What are you doing with your life? But, they're not... The stuff people are buying, man, it's old for the most part. Christopher Nolan and Guillermo del Toro urge fans to switch back to physical media. Yeah, I mean, you can if you can afford it. The problem will be it'll be so much cheaper to buy a streaming service and have your library on the streaming service. That's the way they'll make it. Oh, I bought a movie on Amazon Prime or whatever. Well, as long as I keep my membership, I'll always have it. Yeah, it's not the same as having the DVD. Once you buy the DVD, you can watch it forever. They're gonna try to get us completely out of physical media. It will become too expensive at some point. But the technology will keep evolving. I mean, what we're headed for, I think, and I discussed this last week, but they say it's going to be AI generated stuff. It'll be a platform. Your streaming platform will be an AI. It'll say, what do you want to watch? And then it'll make a movie just for you based on your input, based on what you watched before, what you like, or you could say to them, give me a Quentin Tarantino movie about Superman. And it'll make that for you and you can watch it. Maybe you'll be able to record it and keep it, or maybe not. I don't know. All right, over at Deadline. Whew, same old stuff. How to watch the 2023 BTE Soul Train Awards. I hate articles that start with how to, like I'm a child. I know how to watch TV, Deadline. I don't need you to explain to me how to watch a BTE Soul Train award show. I know how I would watch it. I would tune out until a song comes on. Like a normal person. Paramount Paramount's Channel 5 drops documentary hours before broadcast over contributors' alleged neo-Nazi links. I don't know. I don't know how real that is these days. I mean, years ago, if you had shown me that headline, I would have been like, oh my God. I would have assumed it was at least partially true. Now I have to go, okay, maybe that's true, because they've accused so many people of being the bad guys from Germany. I shouldn't even have said the word on YouTube. Who knows? All the same headlines here. Oh, Tiffany Haddish. I don't know if you remember her. She's a comedian. I think, is she still on SNL? I think she was. Anyhow, she was arrested for DUI. Don the Second is here. What's up, guys? He asked. So yeah, she got arrested for DUI. It was pretty. Somebody videotaped the whole thing on the street too. Not good. Not good. I can't drive drunk. That's bad. Very bad. That's about it there. All right. Looking to Cosmic Book News. Sometimes this site is very good. Other times I wonder, like now, like stupid ads. All right. Let's see what's going on here. The Nun 2 sucks because of woke nonsense. Really? I don't know. People seem to like that movie, but I didn't see it. I didn't see The Nun 1. I'd be so lost. Ardent says, hi, D2. Don 2. Don the Second. Rough. LOL. How you doing, Ardent? Says Don the Second. Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, rumored to get season 2. All right, I know. Part of your brain just exploded, but let me say that again. Let's look at the article, though. This is rumors. They're only rumors about what to look forward to from Marvel on Disney+. Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, and She-Hulk, rumored to have season 2. Ardent, living the dream. So, the rumor comes from Daniel RPK, who also says Ms. Marvel season 2 and Moon Knight season 2 will be more than 6 episodes. Don the Second. Tony, you should watch Invincible. Yeah, everybody says that. My brother loves that show. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. It is on Prime. I could say it. Did I watch the first episode? I don't think I did. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Kirkman. Ardent, Moon Knight season 2. Why? Don the Second, twerking She-Hulk. Sounds great. Right? God. So, like, Moon Knight kind of did okay. I could kind of see a second season of Moon Knight. Maybe. But Ms. Marvel was the lowest rated show, I believe. Don the Second, it's worth your time, man. I assume you're talking about Invincible. Ardent, Invincible is pretty good. There's some workers, so be warned. You mean wokers? Don the Second, best superhero show out at the moment. Okay. Wokery, says Ardent, correcting himself. But like, She-Hulk is embarrassing. I mean, that's just an embarrassing show that they should cancel the show and erase it from Disney Plus and pretend like it didn't even happen. That's the show they should erase. They should Batgirl the She-Hulk. Ms. Marvel, I can kind of understand it coming off the movie a little bit. They think, oh, well, at least the movie fans know about it. Maybe they'll buy Disney Plus. Like, I could kind of see the logic in the first 2, even though I wouldn't greenlight it. I wouldn't greenlight any of this crap. But She-Hulk? Come on. That show is embarrassing. Embarrassingly bad, in my view. I mean, but I'll tell you, the YouTubers are very excited for this happening. I don't know. I'm so sick of, and I don't even do it, but guys who are going to watch this stuff and then make fun of it. Like I did that for Batwoman, the first episode. It was brutally bad, in my view, but God, it got even worse. I can't imagine trying to fight through the rest of the episodes. Don the Second, I love Mexico. Look at her shirt. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about. But that's quite a rumor. That's quite a rumor. It's possible. It's possible for Ms. Marvel that they were considering it before the movie hit. Even as the box office wasn't looking too great, they were saying, well, we'll blame all this on Brie Larson. I mean, it is true that the actress who played Ms. Marvel, for as badly as the movie was panned, almost everybody who reviewed the movie universally agreed that she was the best thing in that bad movie. So you could conceivably take that good, feeling with the fans and nurture it and do something with the character, but they want to do Young Avengers. I don't think that's got any gas. Ardent, hate watching is the generating buzz. No such thing as bad publicity. Yeah, I know. But I get sick of it. It's like, at a certain point, just stop watching this stuff. After I watched the first episode of Batwoman, I never wanted to see another episode again. It was horrible. And that was probably the best episode. It went downhill from there. These shows, I couldn't even watch them. I couldn't even bring myself to watch them. There's too much other stuff to watch anyway. I'd rather watch something good and try to promote that, like Reacher, which I always talk about. I can't wait. The new episodes come out. I think they're dropping on the 15th. So I'm psyched for that. But there's not much out there to be psyched about, which is why, you got to try to push that. It is fun to make fun of these things, but you could do it with the clips. They're so awful. Ardent, I'm completely against hate watching. Yeah, that's why I don't go to the movies too much anymore. It's like, I want to go to a movie that's good, that has a chance at being good at least. Like, if I go see Napoleon, it'll be like, well, maybe this is good. Not that, I know it sucks, I'm going to go see it. Like, I'm not going to go see Killers of a Flower Moon. I hear it sucks, and it's long and it's boring. Oppenheimer, I'm still kind of on the fence about, but it sounds like I could maybe suffer through it during a stream or something. Streaming it. Ardent, Reacher was great. Yes, it was. And I'm very psyched for season 2. It looks good. There's very few things I'm psyched about. I kind of missed the final seasons of Archer, but I'm determined to go back at some point and binge watch the rest of it. But it's just, who's got time for all this stuff? I don't have time anymore. Too busy writing books and surviving. I say, just cut back on all this crap. Invincible I might check out. And look, my bar is, it's got to be free. I mean, I don't want to pay for this stuff. With Prime, I think Invincible's on Prime, right? At least I already have Prime. I'm getting something out of it other than the shows. That's why I think Prime is still a pretty good deal. But for everything else, I don't need Netflix. If Netflix canceled tomorrow, I'll never miss it. I wouldn't even know. Every once in a while, I just log in to make sure I still have it, but same thing with HBO Max. There's a few things on it I like, but mostly, nah. Ardent, I gotta make Stormy watch Archer eventually. The first couple of seasons are amazing. Don the Second, Invincible has woke points here and there, but honestly could be worse. Aha. Now you're not selling me on it, but maybe I'll check out the first episode. See, I think initially I was kind of psyched to see some of it, and then I started hearing some of the backlash, and then I sort of went, I don't know. Finding a little woke bit would be like finding a raisin at the bottom of my chunky monkey ice cream if I was eating Ben and Jerry's still. Don the Second. I feel you, Tony. I only have HBO Max because it was Adult Swim and other cartoons I love. Yeah. Yeah, they're bringing back Aqua Teen Hunger Force, by the way, for another season. So that's going to be good. I'm psyched for that. The only thing I'm dying to see that I can't quite see as of yet, because I still haven't bothered to try to... I think I have access to Paramount through one of my relatives, but I haven't tried to do it yet. I'm dying to see the South Park specials. That's the only stuff I want to see outside of my realm. So if I had the extra money, I'd probably get a Paramount subscription at least for a month to just binge watch it. If I had the damn time, but who the hell has time anymore? Spider-Man 4 to connect to Avengers Secret Wars. Well, I would expect it would, because how could you have Secret Wars without Spider-Man? But will they have the Venom costume in it for Spider-Man? I don't know. If Eddie Brock's not in it, I mean, Eddie Brock wasn't in Secret Wars. Don the Second, you can find the episodes online, I think. Ardent, I can hook you up with my Paramount password. Well, that's very nice of you. I don't know how you could do that, but perhaps. Don the Second, what a guy. Yeah, so Spider-Man 4 to connect to the Avengers Secret Wars. I mean, this looks like it's going to be a train wreck. You know, between the casting of Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards and the fact they've got no heavy hitters left, except maybe Chris Hemsworth. Maybe Chris Hemsworth if they back the money truck to his house. He's going to be the lead guy. Who else do they have? Captain America's out. Chris Evans doesn't want to come back, apparently. Although I wish he would. That's the only good role I think he's ever had. You know, Tony Stark's dead. He should definitely bring him back. There was rumors that perhaps that'll happen. The Hulk, I don't know what the deal is with him. There's some problem with the rights, but I really hope they get rid of Mark Ruffalo at this point. I'm kind of annoyed with him. Ardent, LOL, my account runs out in January. Oh. We'll have to hurry. Knowing my luck, you'll give it to me, and then I'll go, all right, I think I'm finally ready to watch South Park. And, like, I'll log in, and it'll be like, you have 17 minutes left on your account. And I'll be like, damn it. So I don't know what they're going to do here. It can't work. The Secret Wars they should not do. They effed up the Marvel Universe. Even if we were still in Phase 3, I don't think you could do Secret Wars right. There are too many characters involved that aren't even in the mix yet. The Fantastic Four is top of the list because you need Doctor Doom. You absolutely need Doctor Doom. I don't know how they're going to do the Beyonder. I mean, the Beyonder was a tough enough concept to introduce as it was in the comics. Ardent, Chris Evans is probably sick of comic book movies. The Losers, Fantastic Four, Captain America. I liked him in Push, too. He was in Push. That was another superhero movie. It's not bad. So, yeah, I don't think they could do this. Which Secret Wars? 80s or... Oh, God, the stupid thing I can't say. 10... The 10s? I'm always thinking of 80s. They did it again in the 10s. Well, maybe they'll do the 10s one and they'll be able to do it. I don't know. In the 80s, it was pretty good. Even though the artwork was kind of crap because they rushed it out, but it introduced Venom. It introduced the black suit. It was a fun time in comics still. All right, moving on to the wrap. Ardent, I thought that was Hayden Christensen in Push. I think it was, let me see. I'm almost sure it was him. Nope. Chris Evans. There he is. Yeah, Hayden Christensen not in it. Not in it. Dakota Fanning's in it. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. It's it's like a non-superhero movie, basically. Come here, Joan. Come here. I see you down there, looking for my attention. Ardent, damn, wrong again. No worries. Dolly Parton's sister defends singer's Dallas Cowboy NFL halftime show outfit. F yourself, shame on you, not her. I thought Dolly looked fine. I mean, I'm an older guy, so she's not too far out of my age range, in her 70s. Ardent curses foiled again. Obviously she wore the costume in such a way that it would look good on her. And I'm sure she had makeup to beat the band, but so what? She looked fine. So, yeah, I thought Dolly Parton was fine for the NFL halftime show. I didn't watch it, but I saw clips and pictures of her. And then, the question online on Twitter was, would you, with Dolly Parton? And like, how many beers would you need? The answer is 0, because she's Dolly Parton. And she's still kind of hot for someone in her 70s. Same answer for Linda Carter still. She looks pretty good for someone. I think Linda Carter's close to 80 now. Still looks pretty damn good. But, yeah, that's about it. That's about it, little Joan. Don the second, 12 beers and Dolly's looking like her 70s self. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, she was always hot, man. When she would come on, like the Tonight Show, people were like, "Oh my God, look at the rack on her," because she was like busty in the '70s when nobody was that busty. Nobody had cans like Dolly Parton back in the day. She was like the lone busty girl, and you'd be like, "Holy crap!" She'd stand out from a mile away. Now everybody has boobs that big, essentially because of plastic surgery. But back then, like, she was the only one. She was the only one, man. And you'd be like, oh, let's tune in. Oh, Dolly Parton's on a Tonight Show? Sure, we'll watch that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of her music. yeah, right. Right, Joan? Right? Oh, you just want attention. All right. Ardent. Lonnie Anderson. Oh, right. Yeah. She was a hot thing for a while. That was like post Farrah Fawcett. She was like after Farrah Fawcett. Charo. She was pretty hot. She was on the Love Boat a lot. She was also on the Tonight Show. She was kind of annoying though, because she had a shtick where she'd go, ay. But it's different now because back then, again, we only had TV, So if you wanted to see these hot chicks, you'd tune in to a TV show that they were on because, I'm going to watch a hot chick. You couldn't just go on the internet and see them. So it changed. The internet has really changed the landscape. And that's what people forget. And a lot of the people running studios and whatnot, they still kind of forget that. Why at the same time, they've kind of... Ardent, she's an amazing classical guitarist too. Yeah, she is. That would not be what they would promote in her appearances, though. They've kind of fallen into this weird trap where on the one hand, they're still doing a lot of things just like they did back in the 70s and 80s. But then on the other hand, they try to, do all this weird social engineering and put different kinds of people in, like this whole fat girl thing, like throwing in fat girls in places that it's just weird and embarrassing. Like, there's nothing wrong with a fat girl who is okay with her body and whatnot. And even the young ones, some of them look pretty good because they're young and their fat isn't hanging off of them yet. But when you got someone like Lizzo, like promoting fatness, nah, that's no good. It's gross, I think. And there's a way to dress and act according to your body type, right? Like, it's just weird. Don the Second, times are strange, man. LOL. Yes, they are. The internet has ruined everything. But at the same time, I love the internet, so go figure. There was this weird window of time in the late 90s, early 2000s where the internet was so great because it hadn't ruined everything yet, and not everybody knew about the internet or even used it. They kind of heard of it, and they said, I'm not really a computer nerd, and they'd stay off of it. Now everybody's on the friggin' internet trying to do what people who were on the internet in the beginning did, like back in the late 90s. And they suck at it, and they just refuse to acknowledge it. And then it seems like those people who are mentally ill who go on the internet get so much damn attention, it just continues to spiral down and make that popular. So you have all these people just doing whacked out things on the internet now. You know, before that was a problem in that you would have guys who would hit themselves with a board just to get clicks or whatever. Don the Second, love-hate relationship with the internet. I miss early YouTube. Yeah. You'd have guys who would hit themselves with a board or do things to themselves. But even then, there was kind of an acknowledgement that I'm doing this just for attention, partly for laughs, but I'm not going to take it that far. Now people just take things too far. And some of the people who are doing this really should be stopped. I feel bad for some of these people. I just wonder, like, man, they must not have any family in their life worth a damn to pull them aside and go, please, you're embarrassing yourself. Stop doing these things. You know? And I don't mean like political stuff, because I'm sure some of my relatives would pull me aside and say that to me. But I'm talking about, like, you know, real antics. People, you know, even OnlyFans, it's like, don't do OnlyFans unless you're going to be, you know, a porn star. There's no reason to do it. Don the Second, echo chambers galore. Yeah, that's another problem too. That's another problem. All right, I think I'm going to wrap up here because I really got to hit the bathroom again. Don the Second, internet's ruined a lot of people's brains. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, I think their brains were ruined already, but I think what the internet does is it accelerates everything. Like, you know, I think the process was a lot slower back in the day. Like, you really had to subscribe to a lot of newsletters, let's say, if you wanted to go down a political rabbit hole, to the point at which you would get really weird with your ideology. And they existed, and people like that existed, but the process took so much longer and was so, you know, these people were disparate. They were in the middle of nowhere. Don the Second, see you, Tony. See you, bro. Thanks for coming in. And now the process is so quick and so fast. The people get radicalized overnight. The new trend are ardent. Later, brother. Let's hold out hope for truly good Doom 2099 movie. I don't know about that. You know, there's this new trend of beautiful young women saying, oh, I've converted to Islam. And no lie, they're wearing burqas and doing the whole thing. But they're using it as a fashion accessory. I don't think they really are converting to Islam. Maybe a handful are. And I think some of them are even just totally fake accounts. I don't know why they're trying to push that trend, but it's nuts. These people wouldn't even know what Islam was if it wasn't for the internet. So anyhow, on that cheerful note, say goodbye, Joan. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm very excited to be here. I'm a dog. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Joan and I will see you in the next one. All right, Joan. And now we dismiss that.